to think about on that stage in Cooperstown when you're there? And have you worked on your speech? Is a speech written or thought about?
I've thought about it in many different levels, and I'm close to putting things down on paper, but I haven't really formally started the process yet. But I have a pretty good idea of the direction I'm going to go. Obviously, I'm going to try to say things in a very meaningful way, but my goal is to make it really concise.
Really? Why concise?
Because I think that if you really think about what you want to say, the tendency to go over there and think about your whole career in a sort of helter-skelter way might be good for you in a way, and maybe for someone that's close by. But I think if you really think about it, you can put it into words that are a little bit more meaningful and not waste anybody's time.
Right on. But you have thought a lot about what that day is going to encompass. I mean, you're going to look out and see a sea of orange, and then there's Tony Gwynn, and the two of you together obviously know each other very well, and you've done many events in Baltimore a couple months ago with that. I just think that it's the Kentucky Derby. It's only going to happen one time. You get one shot to do it, and as fans, the three of us, I know we've thought about it many times as to what it's going to look like and what it's going to feel like that day.
Well, I try to downplay the significance and the one and only sort of feeling, because that puts a little pressure on you to get it right. But at the same time, you know the enormity of the moment. You know that everybody's going to be watching you. But there's a lot of emotions. There's a lot of things that are going through your head about who to thank and how to really show your appreciation for all the people that really cared about you over all those years. And to put those in the right words, and at the same time kind of protect yourself against this emotional roller coaster that I know I'm going to go through. You can't help but think about Dad. You can't help but think about how are you going to talk about Dad. How and if you're able to really do it on that sort of stage.
Hold it together.
To hold it together. So those things you have to be kind of careful about, and but at the same time, it is the ultimate in celebration of your baseball career. It should be a happy, celebratory environment, and it should be a showcase for baseball the way it is. And I look forward to it because, and I kind of think that in the same way that 21-31 kind of came out, you can't figure it out. You just have to kind of go with it and hope that the spontaneous response really makes it a special event. I like to be scripted in my routine. I like to be scripted in preparing for a baseball game. But I've learned in some of these things, there's a natural, magical experience that happens if you just let it happen. And hopefully this will be one of those.
Cal, you just gave me a perfect segue. Probably the most prepared player I've ever seen play the game. And I remember when Davey talked about initially moving you back to third, you said you didn't want to do it in the middle of the season because you wanted to be prepared for it. Well, the flip side of that, when you were coming out, you were third baseman, and one day Earl puts your name in at shortstop. How was the preparation for that? Were you how long had it been since you played shortstop at that point, and what were you thinking when that first ball was hit to you?
Well, I mean, I hadn't played shortstop when Earl moved me, I guess, in 2 or 3 years. But I'd started playing there and I was in the early part of my development. The Davey Johnson one is a little different. You played 15 years at the position. Now you're asking to go back to third. You're thinking, I think I have the skills to do it, but the angles are different. I think like a shortstop. It's going to be, and I didn't push back. I just said, look, this is not going to, might not be as easy as a transition as you might think it is. Because once you're thinking about a shortstop and you invested 15 years in, you've developed in a certain way that you really have to have some time to go back over. So it's not a slam dunk by any means. I think I have the skills to do it. But Earl didn't ask me, and my name was in the lineup, and you just kind of go over there and do the best you can. And generally speaking, we all do that as members of the team. If this is the best way to get through a Band-Aid period, and this is what we're doing, I had open conversations and I had a chance to have a dialogue, which Davey allowed me to have the feedback because he was searching for the answers at those times. But certainly, starting out in position the next year, I think it was '97.
Yeah.
By starting out in spring training, getting your feet underground, it still took about 100 games to feel like you were a third baseman. And you could the ball slicing off the left-hander's bat that goes away from you, or a ball that hooks back to you, or just getting caught in no man's land where you have nothing to do but be a goalie. Those things you have to get repetitions on, and I like to be prepared, and I like to know that I could do a good job.